start. In any federal or quasi-federal nation state, legislative powers are distributed territorially and legislative competence is often delineated in terms of matters or fields. The latter may be thought of as comprising of aspects or causes that exist independently in the world, such as events, things, phenomena, howsoever commonplace they may be, resources, actions or transactions, and the like that occur, arise, or exist or may be expected to do so naturally or an account of some human agency in the social, political, economic, cultural, biological, environmental, or physical spheres. The purpose of legislation would be to seek the exertion of the state power to control, modulate, transform, eliminate, or engender such aspects or causes or the effects or consequences of such aspects or causes. While the purpose of legislation could be seen narrowly or purely in terms of intended effects on such aspects or causes, obviously the powers have to be exercised in order to enhance or protect the interests of the welfare of the well-being of or the security of the territory and the inhabitants therein, for which the legislature has been charged with the responsibility of making laws. Paraphrasing President Abraham Lincoln, we can say that state and its government, though of the people and constituted by the people, has to always function for the people, indicating that the mere fact that the state is organized as a democracy does not necessarily mean that its government would always act for the people. Many instances of and vast potentialities for the floating of that norm can be easily visualized in constitutions that establish nation states as sovereign democratic republics. Those expectations are also transformed into limitations as to how, in what manner, and for what purposes the collective powers of the people are to be used. The central constitutional themes before us relate to whether the Parliament's power to legislate pursuant to Article 245 include legislative competence with respect to aspects or causes that occur, arise, or exist, or may be expected to do so outside the territory of India. It is obvious that legislative powers of the Parliament incorporate legislative competence to enact laws with respect to aspects or causes that occur, arise, or exist, or may be expected to do so within India, subject to the division of legislative powers as set forth in the Constitution. It is also equally obvious and accepted that only Parliament may have the legislative competence and not the state legislatures to enact laws with respect to matters that implicate the use of state power to effectuate some impact or effect on aspects or causes that occur, arise, or exist, or may be expected to do so outside the territory of India. Two divergent and dichotomous views present themselves before us. The first one arises from a rigid reading of the ratio in Electronics Corporation of India Limited versus Commissioner of Income Tax and another first, and suggests that Parliament's power to 1 1989 to SCC 642 646 legislate incorporate only a competence to enact laws with respect to aspects or causes that occur, arise, or exist, or may be expected to do so solely within India. A slightly weaker form of the foregoing strict territorial nexus restriction would be that the Parliament's competence to legislate with respect to extraterritorial aspects or causes would be constitutionally permissible if and only if they have or are expected to have significant or sufficient impact on or effect in or consequences for India. An even weaker form of the territorial nexus restriction would be that as long as some impact or nexus with India is established or expected, then the Parliament would be empowered to enact legislation with respect to such extraterritorial aspects or causes. Stop.